Well, hello, folks, and welcome to another video on globalism. And today, the topic under the globalism is going to be on the U.S. college campuses and all these anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic protests going on right now, currently, all around the United States, all around the U.S. campuses. 200 plus chapters have been organizing these college campuses, all four corners of the nation. And why is it that I put this under the name globalism, just like my other previous videos that I created before? This is I think the seventh one, the seventh video on globalism. I'm going to explain that. So let's begin. The Right now, what you're noticing is not just a kind of haphazardly and randomly occurring college campuses and student protests, kind of here and there taking place. It is extremely easy to see the kind of the size and the level of organization when you look at a protest and how large it is, how organized and well coordinated it is, and especially when you look at them, almost exact same format. If you're noticing that on hundreds of different campuses or lots of different college campuses, then you got to start thinking that something is going on behind that. That means there's a coordinators, financiers, organizers at all levels. Top down, kind of delegated from the top all the way down the bottom to the person that who's actually shouting there and trying to kind of organize the students around him or herself. So none of this, you guys believe me, none of these are just haphazardly and randomly taking place. None of them is innocent. None of them has any kind of well intentions. The students who are being kind of agitated, or I don't, maybe it's not the right term, the students who are uh, thinking that, okay, this is a righteous movement has taken place on college campuses. And I want to join that. Maybe most of them are actually innocent. Maybe most of them are really, honestly, sincerely thinking that what they're doing is the right thing. And they're defending the rights of the people who are being killed at this given time uh, between Israel and Gaza. And Israel has been bombing the people in Gaza. And these students are thinking by protests, they're showing their reaction against the inhumane uh, things taking place uh, in that region of the world. But unfortunately, there are dark and sinister forces, as always, behind this. And time and again, we witness this for decades and decades, everywhere in the world, in Middle East, in Asia, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in South America, everywhere. Those people who are the masterminds, who can organize, I mean, worldwide events like large protests, civil wars, orange revolutions, civil strifes, chaos, anarchy, terrorism. All these are the products of those dark and sinister forces. Again, once again, and one more time, when we talk about dark and sinister and evil, you cannot skip a name called, skip a person called George Soros. Again, a true evil reincarnated in person, in human form, is none other than George Soros behind all these. And his incredibly complex and deep and wide international, or you call maybe supranational, because he is transcending all the national boundaries and national uh, law and anything. He's beyond all and organizing all these movements. Now he is in this country behind all these college campus protests, and the material or narrative that he is using now is what's happening in Gaza. All he needs, all they need, the evil, all they need is an excuse. This time, Their new excuse is Israel and their IDF's operations in Gaza. They had for each different protests or kind of mass movements, chaos and anarchy and civil strife and civil war or orange revolution or whatever you call it, they use different narratives. In narrative, there is no shortage of it. There is just no shortage of it. Right now, this happens to be Israel and Gaza and Palestine. Like I said, once they get the ball going, it's so easy to excite, especially the young people on college campuses, to kind of create large masses, to create chaos and anarchy, to create the huge disturbance, a social disturbance. What is it that they're trying to achieve by doing this in the United States? It's the same thing that I described in one of my previous videos, again under the globalism. Whatever it is they're trying to achieve with the illegal immigration, it's the same thing that they're trying to achieve. Look at this now. Again, let's look at this carefully. Do you think illegal immigration is innocent itself? Do you think it's just happening because this is a nation of immigrants? It is a fact. This country is a nation of immigrants. But what has been happening the last 3.5 years since Biden came to power, it is unprecedented. Immigration has been taking place for decades. Never, ever came to this point. And all of a sudden, Biden came to power 3.5 years ago. And since then, over 10 million illegal immigrants came to this country and they've been wreaking havoc. Do you think this is a normal form of immigration that has been taking place for, in fact, last 200 years? Certainly not. And one more thing. Illegal immigration is not only taking place in the United States, but it's also been taking place in all Western nations, in Western Europe, Australia, all these developed nations, because the globalist agenda is to create chaos at the same time, and they've been organizing and rolling out their plans all around the world at the same time. So it's not only happening in the United States, it's also happening in Europe, Western Europe. So what's it doing with the Palestine issue? Well, one common denominator is this. Globalist agenda is using everything in their power, and they have a lot of stuff in their toolbox. One of them is illegal immigration to create a chaos and anarchy. The other one is now using the narrative between Israel and Palestine and using the Palestinian cause as their main narrative and organizing the students all around the United States at the same time. Today, 200 plus chapters, starting with the most elite colleges. Those are Harvard, Yale, MIT, Columbia University, University of Minnesota, New York University, Caltech, all these colleges, University of Texas, all these colleges. Students are being organized and are being led to create chaos. What they think is they're doing the right thing. What they think, I'm talking about the innocent, sincere student who is not doing anything with any of these things, any of these ugly, sinister, and dark agendas. He or she is a regular college student, and all of a sudden, what he or she is witnessing is a bunch of people have been organizing big movements. Everybody's getting excited, especially at their age, and do not forget that young people, they're at that age that they know pretty much everything and they will fix the world. This is a typical condition of a college, typical profile of a college student, especially those who are going to elite colleges such as the ones I just counted, Harvard and Yale and Columbia. Those are elite colleges. They are very expensive schools. These students are elite. These students are privileged. These students are either, coming from wealthy families, or they're very smart. They found scholarships or whatever to attend those colleges. And those students are the ones being young also at that age and being in elite colleges, they are all, I believe, thinking, and it's easy to get them kind of roll into this profile that they are going to fix the world. They're going to fight for justice in the world. And Israel is killing people, therefore they're going to fight Israel. So this is their side. I mean, this is how the what I call provocateurs. And I'm going to tell you this: I am almost at the end of this year. I'm going to be 62 years old. I came to this country almost 36 years ago. I'm an immigrant myself. I became a U.S. citizen in 2001 August. August 15, 2001, I became a U.S. citizen, naturalized U.S. citizen. I came from Turkey. And growing up in Turkey, high school and college, we meaning my generation, witnessed a lot of similar actions. Large-scale organizations, large-scale protests, college campuses, university students, other kind of, civil organizations, lots of, social movements. None of them were innocent. Always they were being organized. They always use narrative. Narrative can change. Narrative can be anything you like to be. Like in this case, Palestine and the freedom of the Palestinian people. It could be inequality. It could be injustice. It could be this. It could be that. There is no shortage of narrative. What matters is these organizations, with their well coordinated efforts in this extremely well working, well oiled machine. There is no shortage of leadership in those organizations, shortage of money, financing, training, organizing, coordinating, planning, strategizing. They can do all those things. And none of these protests can take place haphazardly and randomly without some kind of a serious levels of wide scale, wide spectrum of organization and leadership and money. And when you look at the lowest level is being in the field. What we call, I remember us then calling those, and they still use the same term, provocateurs. I'm going to use the same term, provocateur. Provocateur is a person who provoke the people, right? Those agent provocateurs, they go out and they're trained. They are well trained. They know how to push the buttons, how to organize, masses, and how to kind of create at the right time, saying the right thing, doing this right, having the right action, start basically starting a fire. Basically, that's what they're accomplished. They're trained for this. To accomplish those kinds of things, what they need is they put those trained individuals as agent provocateurs. They're organized. They have a lot of background before that anyway. I mean, before they actually start the action, there's a lot of preparation. And then the final thing is deploying those agent provocateurs. They start their act. They start their role, their part, and then they already build connections and everything. All they need is start the action. Pretty similar to actually military operation. Everything is being strategized. And then, once they get the ball rolling, once the groups start getting larger, it is so easy. It's just like a snowball effect. If you can get enough volume and the snowball as it goes down the hill, it only gets bigger. It's the very same thing. And more. And eventually, all the students on campus join these. It is a human nature. The narrative is righteous. The rights of the Palestinian people. They're innocent. They're being killed. This is their narrative. And then they start this, the agent provocateurs who are experts at what they're doing. They're well-trained people. And the protest gets larger and bigger. And eventually it gets to the point that it starts causing social disturbance and creating chaos, maybe at levels of anarchy. And anarchy is what they want. The chaos is what they want. Social disturbance is what they want. They want to disturb the current state of the society. They want to destroy the rule of the law. That's what they're trying to accomplish. Because, again, in one of my videos before under the name of globalism, I said this: for the globalist agenda to be realized, they first off must destroy their current establishment in order to come back as a kind of a rescuer to fix the broken system. And once people accept the broken what they offer, because they're so miserable and so effed up and they have no more hope, then they're gonna say, we're gonna fix this, but you will be living under our terms. That's what the globalist agenda is. That's what they're trying to accomplish. And college campus protests using the Israel as a narrative, this is what they're trying to accomplish. That's why you're seeing this. All four corners of the United States, all the college campuses, especially those most elite college campuses, 200 different chapters at the same time showing those protests, doing those protests, and they're trying to, the police and the security forces have been trying to handle them and contain them. But it's already gotten so big. It's already at the level that is causing the social disturbance. And that's what they're trying to go. That's called anarchy. It's different than the traditional form of terrorism. That's not terrorism. This is anarchy. The social levels. And look at the students. The most elite college students, again, I repeat, they believe in what they're doing. When they're, shouting and yelling on top of their lungs, they're thinking they're helping and rescuing the kids and women and children in Gaza Strip. They're not aware. They're not even thinking, it's not even occurring to them that they are serving people with dark and sinister goals to destroy the very system that makes them live what they live. So, again, I just wanted to share my thoughts, my opinions about what's going on, and wanted to kind of describe as I see it. And this is exactly the way I see it. I wish some of those students would be, I don't want to use the word smart enough because I believe they're all smart kids. But I wish they had the sanity, or they had the life experience, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to see this reality and stop falling victim to what those agent provocateurs are doing, because that's what's happening. Once those agent provocateurs come to those college campuses, first as a student, acting as a student, they're all paid and well paid and trained. And then they start forming some relationships and friendships, and eventually they kind of, gather some kind of potential energy around them. Small groups, maybe, usually a few, 5, maybe 10, 15 students. And then they know they're well trained, again, I repeat, to take this up to the next level, to take up a notch or two, enlarge the group, and kind of talking to the right people, and especially and particularly using the dominant culture on all college campuses, especially the elite college campuses, the woke culture. The woke culture that dominates the college campuses, all the way up to all the professors and administration, are already in support of what those agent provocateurs are saying. Because they know the rhetoric, they know what to say, they know how to talk, they know how to kind of pull those forces together. Once they can reach the critical mass, all they need is to reach the critical mass to start the social movement. In this case, the social movement is a protest, large-scale protest on one college campus. And then they've been deployed on all college campuses in the same fashion. And that's what we're seeing. Now the result is, at the same time, it's almost like, bombs, implemented every single college campus, and they were triggered and exploded almost at the same time. It is that perfectly taken place. I wish those students were thinking about those lines, along those lines, thinking that there is something behind a lot more than those so-called innocent sounding, because it's always like that. Always like that. Never forget, evil never comes in sounds or looks like evil. Evil says the most beautiful things, appears beautiful, attractive. It sounds righteous. Evil comes this way. These people are evil. The organization I said, and I give example, I try to personify, I try to kind of put that organization, give it a name, George Soros, the pure evil. His organization, all the way down, I said, all the way down to those, agent provocateurs on college campuses. They know how to act and talk and look and behave. And they will look sincere. That's how evil acts. And I believe every single one of those college students joining these mass protests are 100% fully convinced that they are fighting. They're yelling on top of their lungs. They're putting on, protests to support or those people, or to kind of create awareness about, against Israel and Israel attacks on Palestinian people. I don't believe it even occurs to them. October 7th, 1,400 people extremely violently butchered. That includes beheading the babies. That includes raping women and girls in front of their husbands and fathers. That includes torturing children in front of their parents. That includes incredible, unspeakable amount of atrocities that were committed on October 7th in Israel by Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. And Israel has been trying to defend their right to exist. And Hamas is sworn enemy of Israel. And they sworn to eliminate every last Jewish person from Palestine, from those lands. What they claim, this is Palestine. And Israel has every right to protect their existence in the region. And if there is a terrorist organization such as Hamas, then they have every right to defend themselves. Unfortunately, Hamas is using people, Palestinian people, as a shield. They're cowards. They're disgusting people. They're hiding behind the women and children. They dug tunnels under the schools and hospitals. They put those people, those children, civilians, men, women, children, young and old, everybody, every civilian Palestinian at risk by doing this. They force them. They hide among them. It is impossible to separate who's Hamas, who's terrorist, who's not. That, unfortunately, under the war conditions, creates the utmost ugly results. The children, the civilians, innocent, harmless, unarmed civilians end up suffering, dying, losing their livelihood, losing their homes, losing their anything they have. They lost. It is horrible, yet they ask for it. On October 7th, they ask for it. And what Israel doing is they are not necessarily trying to genocide and eliminate all the Palestinian race or Palestinian people. They're trying to sort out the terrorists. And I want to know those people who are saying that Israelis should stop. Would you stop if somebody did that to you? Would you stop if they came to your house, your town, your village, killed you, killed your family, torture your children, torture your parents in front of you, burn you, beheaded you, skin you, just to show their hatred towards you, just because they believe the land they're living it doesn't belong to them, but doesn't belong to themselves. Would you take it in the same fashion that you're saying you claim that it's wrong because of what Israelis are doing? Believe me, take my word. If 1,000th of that was done to you today, you'd be going berserk and crazy, and you'd be basically fighting if you could, if you had a potential or balls to fight, of course. There's nothing. It's not the way they think. It is much more uglier, and they are now being played. Those college students on campuses are being played by those agent provocateurs who were well trained and financed by those organizations. I just grouped them, lump sum them under one name: globalist agenda or globalist evil agenda by the likes of George Soros. That's all I have. Thank you very much for listening to my video. Please put your comments. Whether you agree or disagree, please put your comments. Thank you.